Welcome back. Well, 2022, that's a new year with a new you. And New Year's resolutions are hard to keep, but Dr. Kohli is here to give us some tips on ensuring we stick with those goals for the whole year.
Dr. Kohli, it's great to see you. I have to ask, do you have any New Year's resolutions that you're aiming for this year?
Happy New Year, Danny. It's great to see you as well. And I do have a few resolutions. It's the same ones that I make every year. But, we always, just like most Americans, I have kind of three things that I make resolutions about. One is self-improvement. So I'm going to try to exercise more. The other is career goals. So, we always set landmarks for where we want our career to go. And then the third, of course, is relationships. And those are the three most common things that most of us make resolutions about. What are yours?
Definitely. You know what? I kind of have a similar thing where I try to do the same thing every year, especially when it comes to eating healthy and weight loss, stuff like that. But I've started to learn that the more I make them, the more I break them. So I'm trying not to make anything too big. But I feel like we all make resolutions. How many would you say actually really achieve them?
When I looked at the studies, Danny, I was so disappointed because most of us make resolutions, but by the second week of February, 80% of us have already not kept our resolutions. And if you look all the way at the end of the year, only 8% of us have actually kept the resolutions that we make. So 92% of us need to do a little better.
Oh, yeah. Okay. And I could definitely say I'm probably in that 92%. So is it still a good idea to make them in the first place?
So here's the deal. Even if you don't end up keeping your resolution, it's actually a great idea to make resolutions because there is a lot of positive benefits that come out of simply making the resolution. So the first is reflection and intention. So the fact that you slow down to sort of think about what's working, what isn't working, it's a really honest assessment of kind of what your life is and how it's going and what you could do better. The second is hope and encouragement and inspiration. So, resolutions do inspire us. They give us hope. They encourage us to do things. And that's really always a very beneficial thing. And then the third is responsibility. So because we've taken an assessment, we know, what we need to do. We can hold ourselves and others can hold us accountable and responsible for some of the changes that we want to make.
Okay, I really like that. So it's definitely still worth it. Why would you say, though, it's just so difficult for us to keep them? I mean, I just feel like it ends up being so hard. Like you said, by that second week of February, we're kind of like, all right, we gave it a shot. Maybe it's not for me this year. So why is it so difficult? And then how do you suggest that we do keep them?
So research has looked at this and it's trying to understand our psychology. Why is it that we don't keep our resolutions? So the first reason is that they're not specific enough. So for example, you just gave me a good example of, eat better, exercise more. That's not very specific. So we don't really establish benchmarks that we can keep and we don't have goals that we can stick to. It's very nebulous. So instead of saying that, it would be better to say, I want to eat plant-based food 3 times a week and I want to exercise at least 4 days a week. So that's a very specific goal and we're more likely to be able to keep it. The second reason, Danny, is the intensity. So some people go from exercising 0 days a week to want to exercise 7 days a week. And our body and mind is not that adaptable. So you really want to try to ease yourself in with realistic goals. And then you can keep moving that goalpost as you achieve those goals over the course of the year. But don't try to go from 0 to 7 all at once because it's unlikely to be. And then the last reason is actually the framing of the resolution. So a lot of people say, I don't want to eat junk food again. That's a negative framing. And so instead of saying what you don't want to do, which sometimes paradoxically makes you do it more because you're thinking about it more, you turn it into a positive, what you would rather do instead.
Huh. Okay, I really like that. That's a great way to frame it. All right, well, I'm going to sit down and make my more specific goals, and then I'm going to email them to you. You and I need to keep each other accountable for the whole year, okay?
I love it. I can't wait to do this.
Perfect. Thanks, Dr. Kohli. It's great to see you.
Great to see you, Danny. Happy New Year.
Good advice. Start off your new year right. And don't forget, Quest Diagnostics is your home for all things medical. Head to 9Health365.org to make an appointment and start your year on the healthy foot.